The Secret of the Buddha and the Ultimate Sacrifice.
Hello everyone, what we are going to talk about today is truly going to blow your mind. We are deeply grateful to the Buddha Association of Australia for sharing this incredibly precious material, which gives us the opportunity to unpack a remarkably shocking and ancient Buddhist parable. What are we discussing today? The Secret of the Buddha and the Ultimate Sacrifice. Sounds a bit like an epic blockbuster, doesn't it? But in reality, it strikes directly at the deepest yearning for truth inside every single one of us. Without further ado, let us dive right into the thrilling story. A paradoxical scene. Let us start with a fascinating, almost paradoxical scene. Imagine this: the Buddha, the ultimate teacher, feels back pain during his travels. He asks his disciple, the Venerable Ananda, to teach the Dharma in his place while he lies down to rest. And guess what happens next? The moment Ananda begins to preach the wondrous Dharma, the Buddha sits right back up. Not only does he sit up, but he crosses his legs in the full lotus posture and listens to his own disciple's teaching with the utmost reverence. Isn't this bizarre? He is the Buddha. Why on earth would he do that? Naturally, the monks present back then were just as baffled as we are now. They quickly asked the world-honored one, Bhagavan, why are you listening to the Dharma from someone else? The Buddha's answer was profound and shocking. He explained that his absolute devotion to learning and truth was no passing whim. It would but across countless past lives, forged through physical sacrifices beyond anything an ordinary person could ever imagine. To illustrate this, he went on to tell a story, an epic, sacred myth that we are about to travel back in time to experience together. Part E, Mythic Retrospect, the story of King Sibi. Let us turn back the clock to ancient times to witness how a king, famous for his boundless compassion, faced a terrifying, divine test. To help everyone follow this grand narrative, let's break it down into 4 tight phases. The king's generous reign, the divine test, the flesh and blood sacrifice, the miraculous restoration. Let's walk through it step by step. The moment of testing. To test how determined the king was in his search for the truth, Sakra disguised himself as a terrifying, flesh-eating demon, a Rakshasa. This hideous demon appeared directly before King Sibi. But to everyone's surprise, instead of rushing to devour him, the demon recited half a verse of fate-altering truth. All conditioned things are impermanent. It is their nature to rise and pass away. Though only a few words, it captured the ultimate truth of the universe. Hearing just this half verse, King Sibi was overcome with an indescribable, overwhelming joy.
Modern seekers, we have mountains of scriptures at our fingertips and endless teachings accessible on our phones with a single click. Yet, we're often overly ambitious, complaining today that a certain method isn't good, or complaining tomorrow that a teacher isn't perfect. We're drowning in an ocean of scriptures, yet severely lacking the genuine determination to give up anything for the truth. Honestly, looking at this contrast is quite humbling, isn't it? It brings us to a soul-searching question. Have we cultivated even the most basic yearning for the Dharma? We must ask ourselves, amidst our minds full of delusions, greed, anger, and bad habits, do we still hold that pure, fundamental craving to seek the truth? Without that prerequisite, even if the truth smacks us in the face, it won't matter. Part 4. Warnings and the Path Forward. To ensure we don't waste the precious wisdom connections we've been blessed with, the master in this material didn't just point out the problems he outlined strict, non-negotiable prerequisites for achieving spiritual success. Practice the 10 virtuous deeds without this foundation. Don't even bother talking about anything else. Cultivate joyful reverence. Truly respect the teachings from the heart. Faithful understanding. Understand the scriptures as they were originally intended, without twisting core doctrines. Practice accordingly. Do exactly as the scriptures teach. Notice how clear and uncompromising this path is. There are no shortcuts. Here, the master gives a gravity-laden warning that we must all take to heart. No matter what school you practice Zen, Vajrayana, Pure Land, or any other, if you alter the Buddha's original meaning, misinterpret the scriptures, or arrogantly judge which teaching is greater or lesser, you are committing the act of slandering the Dharma. Slandering the Dharma just through as the Dharma. It instantly uproots and obliterates all the wholesome roots you have accumulated. Building a spiritual foundation is hard work, but destroying it takes only a split second. This is a red line we must never cross. So, return to reverence for the Dharma. What does true respect actually look like? It does not mean buying a beautifully bound scripture, placing it on a high shelf, and letting it gather dust for 10,000 years without ever reading it. That is not reverence. True reverence means living like King Sibi, being willing to put the teachings into practice at all costs, truly embodying the truth in your daily life. That is the soul of revering the Dharma. Just as the Buddha endured unimaginable pain in pursuit of the truth. Today's message leaves us with one final question to carry in our minds. To achieve your own breakthrough and gain true awakening, what are you willing to sacrifice today?
He instantly realized this was the stepping stone to supreme enlightenment, a prime opportunity to attain nirvana. Eager and thirsty for wisdom, the king begged to hear the second half of the verse. But the Rakshasa refused. Now, the king had taken a sacred vow never to harm any living being. How could he trade another person's life for the Dharma? Driven by his intense longing for truth, the king made a decision that leaves you holding your breath. He begged the demon to finish the verse, offering to pay with his own flesh and blood. The Rakshasa agreed and recited the second half of the verse, words more precious than gold. When rising and passing away cease, that tranquility is bliss. Having received this final piece of his spiritual destiny, what happened next was mind-blowing. Without a moment's hesitation, piece by piece, to feed the demon, he literally traded his life and excruciating physical agony for a few short lines of teaching. That level of absolute commitment to truth gives you chills. Did he regret it? Not in the slightest. Instead of regret, King Sibi felt a deep, profound joy. He said to the Rakshasa, compared to the suffering in the hell realms, what is this pain of cutting my flesh? At that moment, Sakra revealed his true divine form and asked if the king was truly joyful. The king swore a solemn oath, if my heart is truly joyful and filled with great compassion for all beings, may my body be restored as before. And guess what? In that very instant, powered by the absolute purity of his intention, his body was miraculously healed. Even Sakra bowed down in awe of such boundless devotion. Part R, metaphorical translation, true devotion. Now, let's step out of this ancient legend, drawing from the deep teachings of contemporary masters in these materials. We need to ask ourselves, what does a sacrifice this gruesome mean for us today? Is it just a mythical tale? Absolutely not. Here comes the core insight. Slicing off flesh is a powerful metaphor. It represents reverence for the Dharma and extreme respect for the authentic truth. It asks us, in your pursuit of spiritual truth, are you willing to leave behind worldly comforts, or even sacrifice everything? As the master put it so clearly, those who revere the Dharma shall attain the Dharma. You can only truly benefit from these teachings if you value them from the bottom of your heart. Part 3, a brutal mirror, modern complacency. This next part might sting a little. It acts as an uncompromising mirror, placing our modern daily spiritual practice side by side with King Sibi's epic devotion. King Sibi gave up his life and flesh for just half a verse. Will you sacrifice a bit of your pride and arrogance? Will you step out of your comfortable, cozy zone? Or will you put down your endless complaints? It's really something for all of us to reflect on. Once again, our heartfelt thanks to the Buddha Association of Australia for sharing this invaluable material. And thank you all for tuning in today. I hope today's content touched your heart. See you next time.